Hey everyone, as I said last week, looking at everything anew, I took a look around the house and looked at all the DVDs that I had and thought, what about a media server? Now, my kid, they have a media server in their house. They use Plex, right? I looked at Plex. I looked at the expense that's associated with Plex, and their expense model doesn't look long-term viable to me. And the reason I say that is because they're offering things up front. Pay this one fee and you're good forever. And that doesn't mean you've got a lot of investment coming in order to increase your product, right? To make it better, to do bug fixes and things. So then I looked at an alternative to it called Jellyfin. It's a more or less crowdsourced type of application. So I had an old computer in the house that I had that was a media server. Back in early Windows time, they had a media center built into the operating system, which didn't get a lot of press. It was absolutely amazing in that you could get a device called an HD home run, which would connect to your cable, right? From the cable company, you got this little PCMCIA card that popped in that handled the decrypting of the channel. So the card was set up to handle what you had ability to view. So if you had HBO, you could watch HBO. This allowed you to record things digitally from the setup over the cable. Now, the coolest part about the media center was it was more about what you wanted to record. So if there was a television series that was on, such as Firefly, and you wanted every episode of it, it would keep track of what episodes you got, and it would try to record it at the time that it was available. If there was a conflict, it would look for which of the ones that are in conflict are on at another time. And a lot of times on cable, things would pop up at another time on another day, and it would just record it then. So all you had to do was basically tell it what you wanted and let the system take care of it for you. That said, the old computer that I had still has the PS2 connectors on the back. If you're unfamiliar with those are the round connectors on the back of the connect keyboard and mice to a computer. It's pretty old. It's over 10 years at this point. So I thought, well, why don't I just set up Jellyfin on there and see if it works? And it does very well. I will be replacing it and building out a brand new Jellyfin server because I've been happy with the way this works. Got a refurbed Dell computer coming. I'm going to throw a 4 terabyte drive in there to start. And I've got a bunch of DVDs in the house, probably close to 200, that I can make digital versions of and go from there. Using MKV files to make it all work. And there are programs out there that'll grab the DVD and make an MKV out of it, some better than others. There's a free one called Make MKV Beta that does a pretty good job of grabbing your DVD and allowing you to see what titles are on it. Now, titles are individual pieces of video that are there. When you pop your DVD in and you see that menu, that's a piece of the of the DVD. The other options that are on there, like behind the scenes or a thing about the special effects or whatever is on that menu, are all different titles within the terminology of Make MKV and other applications that do this kind of ripping. So once you get that set up, Jellyfin has connectors out to do a whole bunch of things for you. It will try to find, based off of the title that you put in, so that's why naming these things is very important, because it's going to scan and look for the name of the video and use that as the title. It's going to go look at IMDb. It's going to go look out at other resources to try to find everything that you need for it. What are you going to get for that? You're going to get the graphic art, the cover art that was on the DVD. That'll come across for you automatically. The descriptions about it come across. The genres come across. The people come across. If you click on that image of your movie and you don't click the center where it says play, you will be presented with a set of data that tells you what the movie is, a little icon of film up at the top that you can click on that. It'll take you to a trailer for the movie. So you get a whole bunch of information. The cast is all down the bottom. Movies that you've got stored on your server that are similar to this movie will show up at the bottom of that. Clicking on any of the stars will then show you every other movie that you have stored that has that star in it, plus give you the information about that actor as well. So it gives you a lot of information for free just by putting the stuff in there. Does it get it right all the time? Most of the time it does. If it doesn't, it's simple to go in there, go to IMDb, put in the name of the movie that you're used, and in that URL that comes back to tell you about the movie is a TT and a number. That's the IMDb number. Grab that, put it in for the metadata for it, tell it to refresh the metadata, and it'll go get everything it needs, including the graphic to show you for the movie. In addition to that, there's a thing called collections. Now, the one thing I'm not in love with collections is that appears as opposed to the movie. So the movie appears as just the collection. So for example, you have Star Wars on there. You put in your Star Wars discs. You now have a Star Wars collection. All of those movies are within the collection, and it will have a number up at the top to tell you how many movies are in there. But it makes it a little bit easier and a little bit harder to find what you're looking for. There is a tab that says collections, so you can just go there and you can look at all your collections that you've got and click the one that you want, and then all the movies will show up and you can go that way. So it's like having a folder within the folder. But it doesn't necessarily show up when you're looking just at the list of movies. So you'll have more movies than it appears that you do, for one thing. But for the other, I'd like it to show up a little better when you do the genres, to be honest. I would like to be able to hit the horrors and just have all of them show up. They do and they don't. So that's something I wish there was a little bit better on. When you go to the genre, I would like to be able to pull up horror, for example, and see all the horror movies that are available, as opposed to scrolling through, here are all the actions, here is this, here is that, as you go through the entire list. That would be nice to have in there. Beyond that, it gets the job done. Is it shareable? Yes, it is shareable. If you want to share it with somebody, for example, my kid has me available on their Plex. I have them available here. You are going to have to do some networking stuff. First and foremost is you're going to want to buy a domain. The reason you're going to want to buy the domain is because you're going to want to buy a certificate to go with that domain. Now, I used SSLS as my certificate that I bought for my domain. So I bought a small domain, right? Not going to cost you much to buy a domain. It's not going to cost you much for getting the certificate through SSLS. But that means that every time that they log into your server, it's encrypted. On your side, you're going to have to make sure that whatever port you want to expose for Jellyfin maps. And when they come to your site, they're going to have to put in your domain and the port number. Once done, it works. Now, the nice part about it is Jellyfin also has applications. You can browse it and work on it beautifully over a browser. It plays in the browser perfectly. Not a problem at all. If you have a tablet, if you have a computer, a phone, if you have a smart TV, you can load Jellyfin on there, go to the server, and see your movie there. Easy peasy, and it's all there. So even if you're sticking with your home setup, The way it's going to work there is the way it does for a lot of things you'd use on your smart TV, right? You're going to get a code. So the Quick Connect in Jellyfin will handle that for you so that you can put it on your TV, authenticate yourself to your server, and be able to then watch things on the TV. The nicest part about all of this is it's all, even if you don't share it, all of those DVDs are available. All the background information is available. All the trailers are available. So if you're just sitting at home wanting to see what do you want to watch tonight, you're not looking at a wall of DVDs and trying to remember what the movies were. You can grab this. You can pull up the genre. Or you can look in your collections. Hey, we watched Resident Evil last night. You want to watch the next one? Sure. Pull up your Resident Evil collection, grab the next movie, and go. It's very easy to do. A caveat I will put out, though, is you can click on that play button to play your movie. I would recommend that you don't do that. Click on click off of that, but on the icon, on the graphic, so that you get that detailed information, because some of the movies have subtitles or CC that shows up on the bottom, and the option to turn that off will be right there. You can turn it off once you start playing, but then once you start playing it, it's going to have to pause and recycle to take care of that change. But if you click on the album or the cover image and go there, you can just turn it off before you hit play and you're good to go. You can favorite movies, you can check them off. So you can go through and use this for everybody in your household to go grab a movie anytime they want. You've got a kid who's got a tablet, wants to watch a different movie, they can. You don't have to all watch the same movie. However, if you are sharing a movie and you want to sync the fact that you're watching the movie with someone else, kind of like a virtual date, you can do that too. From what I've seen so far, there wasn't a lot of documentation about it that I could find. But here's what I learned about that. The little people icon up at the top is how you sync it. You both have to play the movie. One of you will click on that little icon and create a group, and then the other person clicks to join that group. And then it seems to synchronize the two playbacks, and you're good to go. I think at that point it's just streaming the transcoded information to two different places. Now, as I said, from a server standpoint, I have an old server, and it's working okay, except that one of my drives is failing. It's got some bad blocks, and I put the whole thing on Linux, and the Mint Linux that I've got is having an issue with the super block on that. What that means is it won't mount it anymore. It won't play, and it did give me a problem a while back. Again, this is a very old computer. These drives in here are about 10 years old. So the fact that it worked at all was quite amazing to me. I may repurpose it, don't know yet, but I have a Dell coming with an i7 processor in it, 32 gigs of RAM. I went high on the RAM because this does do transcoding, and if it needs more graphics, by buying a refurbed machine, I can, cheap, because it was under $300, it will give me the ability to upgrade it. I have a 4 terabyte, brand new 4 terabyte drive coming in. I can throw that right in the box. It has USB 3.1 on it, so I have a much better USB. Anything that had a PS2 connection on it does not have a high USB on it. If I'm lucky, this has USB 2 in it. So that gives me a lot more options with the newer box. Right? It does not have a DVD on it because I'm not using that machine to rip my DVDs. I'm using another computer to do that and then pushing it across the network to it. As far as Jellyfin recognizing it, you can tell it to recognize it, or it'll do it on its own as it goes through its cycle and optimizes itself and things. Two important things, though, if you're going to build your own media server. One, Make sure you got a good place to put it that's clean so that you're not getting a bunch of crap pulled into the fan every time it starts up. 2, make sure you keep backups, not only of the movies that you've put in there, but of the configuration for Jellyfin. Because that way, if something goes wrong with the box, you can easily just start up another box, put Jellyfin on there, copy the configurations over to it, and go from there. What would I use for an operating system? I am not a big fan of Linux. I'll be upfront with that. I think there's a lot of crap that you have to do in Linux by hand that isn't as intuitive as some of the things are in, for example, on a Windows box. Disk part to me makes a lot more sense than having to mount the drives and do LSBLK and all those other commands that I've had to learn over the last couple of days. But for me, it challenges me because it's an operating system I don't typically use. And that's one of the reasons I used Linux. I've got a couple of Linux boxes in the house that just kind of sit and do their thing. I don't interact with them too much. One that runs a dev SQL server that I've got and handles my DNS internally and externally. And I've got another box that just is a task runner. All it does all day is just run these individual tasks that I've got to keep track of what my solar input is and how much power I'm using, and all that kind of stuff is just handled there. And then I've got another little Windows box that runs all of the AI that tries to anticipate what the forecasted power is going to be, and all of that stuff is handled in there. But that's what I've got running. Adding in this box, and yes, in case you're wondering, I have a lot of network ports in my house, but having this box and putting it on Linux, it's trimmed down. I don't use the GUI much at all. I could probably tear it off, but it doesn't seem to be taking up too much space. But seeing as I'm not using the box that way and I'm doing everything over SSH, it's all command line. It's all relatively easy from that standpoint. And I can have multiple windows open and be doing multiple things with it. It's not taking up another one of my displays is really the reason I'm doing it. I've got 4 displays on my main computer. When I'm recording these podcasts, I've got 2 screens that are just handling the encoding of the stuff through Adobe Audition, and I can see what my levels and things look like. I got another to keep track of things that could be going on while I'm doing this. Monitor number 4 is a pen tablet that allows me to work on my art, update photographs, work on any of the stuff that I might be printing on 3D printing that I want to manipulate a little bit. So I've got that as well. So having another screen is difficult because I've got 4 and I already have another desktop that's using another screen. So I'm running out of space. Let me put it that way. So having something that I can just put off on the side and not worry about is good. Of course, you've got an RDP option for the Linux boxes. I have not put it on this one yet, but you always have an RDP option for a Linux box, be it Mint or Ubuntu, which is virtually the same, that allows you to then cast what would be their display onto a display. Again, trying not to use any more displays. So having something I can pop open in a tabbed view that has all these different computers on there and I can just use SSH is worth it to me at this point. So when the Dell comes in, it's going to have Win 11 Home on it. I'll just turn it into a Mint Linux box. It's got a 500 gig M2 SSD in it, and I'll be adding the 4 terabyte hard drive to it to put the movies in, and then I'll have a backup situation that I have to put together so that I can copy all that stuff off. Right now, everything I've got is backed up. It's not taking up 2 terabytes worth of space. So it's all backed up and it's ready to go, and I can just copy it from my backups onto the new system once I get the new system set up. So that's what I got for you guys this week. No, I do not get any money from Plex or Jellyfin or anybody else that I've talked about here today. But that's what I got for you this week, and I'll talk to you next week.